everybody. It's John Llodra here, one of the co-founders and a partner here at New Harbor Financial Group for this week's Timely Take. These are brief updates we give on something that's timely in the news, catching a lot of hype or attention, hopefully just to educate and bring to Main Street and to our clients and viewers our take on some of these matters. Today, I want to focus on something that's catching some headlines, and it's the planned IPO, initial public offering of Reddit. I don't know how many of our clients or viewers are familiar with Reddit. It's a company that's become infamous, I guess you could say. It's essentially a chat board type of social media platform. I personally don't use it, but it was brought into popular attention, I think, in 2021 during the so-called GameStop meme phase, where there were some stocks that on a sub-channel on Reddit called Wall Street Bets, a number of posters, including the infamous Roaring Kitty, I think his name was, actually based up here in Massachusetts. It was come to find out after legal investigations. Through the Reddit chat board, some of these stocks were pumped, and major big institutions that were short these stocks, betting against these stocks, got taken to the cleaners by everyday people pumping these stocks on social media, on Reddit. Let me show you an example of that by looking at a chart of GameStop, which is a retailer of video games and whatnot. Hopefully you can see this chart. This chart goes back 20 years. It's a monthly, each one of these bars is a month. Back in 20, so you can see this stock basically was down here for much of the last 20 years. And then in 2021, it shot up from, essentially, well, got as low as 17 cents here, shot up to over almost $121 a share. Major move, largely credited with the talking of this on Wall Street Bets. There's a popular movie out, mainstream movie called Dumb Money. It's actually quite an entertaining watch if anybody wants to watch it to learn, to see a movie rendition of what happened then. But I'm not going to give any views on the stock itself. What I really like to highlight is just the news of the IPO. What is an IPO? It's when a private company, raises capital by issuing shares to the general public through an initial public offering. And it's a very time-honored way for companies that want to raise capital to grow or whatever, to turn by selling shares to the public. That's kind of the good, kind of good-spirited way to look at IPOs. But there is a fair aspect of IPOs that involve a kind of a pulling the rug out of the everyday investor, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Basically, insiders perhaps seeing and I'm not saying this is the case with Reddit, but there is a long history of companies issuing stock at major bubble tops, kind of take the money and run kind of sequence events by selling stock to perhaps what you might call the unsuspecting public. And so I want to kind of share some information. I'm gonna turn to a recent Bloomberg article that kind of touches upon what's going on here. The title is "Debt-Addicted Companies Look to Equity as Interest Costs Skyrocket." So as these growing companies, small companies need to finance their continued operation and growth, debt markets have become increasingly more expensive in recent years with the rise in interest rates. So sometimes they can actually issue equity at what might be considered a cheaper way of raising capital. That actually, I think, is we're starting to see some fervor here, not just Reddit, but other companies announcing plans to have IPOs during 2024. And that comes on the heels of a rather anemic, actually really anemic 2023 for issuing IPOs. And I'm going to show you a chart of that. This is a chart showing, go back to 2009, the number of IPOs. You can see 2021, during that same episode as we just saw the GameStop stock go to the moon. That was kind of a frenzy, bubble market if we ever saw one. Massive amounts of issuance there. You could say insiders shoving their stock off to a very frenzied public buying. 2023 was the lowest in the last bunch of years. The next chart I want to show you just kind of puts this in the context. This is going back, this is through 2021, that very big spike, and this shows the count of IPOs. And you can see overlaid with this is the Shiller PE, which is a measure of valuation. It's not a perfect relationship, but in modern years, there tends to be a spike in the IPOs when stock valuations are high. In other words, perhaps the insiders are saying, hey, let's get out while the getting is good. Let's sell high so we don't have to sell low. And you see here in 2021, certainly that Shiller PE got up there again. So IPOs can be a mixed bag. They're oftentimes accompanied with a lot of hype and sizzle and stuff like that, but maybe aren't great investments. And the next chart shows this. This is put together by a firm called Renaissance Capital. They actually have an index called the Renaissance IPO Index. This is looking back over the last 5 years. You can see this blue, lighter blue line is the IPO index. The darker line, I think that's black, is the S&P 500. And you can see right around 2021, during that major frenzy, the performance initially in those IPOs did pretty good because there were a lot of hype around them. But subsequent to that, they've sold off pretty hard. And at least in this snapshot, the IPO market has been an absolute dud compared to just investing broadly in the stock market. This is a really, I think, interesting data point. Again, Reddit being a very highly followed and hypey kind of stock, I think it could be very emblematic of a sign of another sign of many that we've been talking about that could be emblematic of a blow off top in the stock market. We've talked at length in our weekly videos and those we do in other formats about the extreme record valuations and overzealousness in the stock market that we think eventually will yield to much lower levels. This IPO activity of late and some of the high profile ones like Reddit could be yet another sign of that kind of topping process that I wanted to use this timely take to just inform our viewers and clients just another sign here to be cautious and be a little skeptical. Well, of course, we wish you safe sailing. Certainly for our clients, we hope to be able to help accomplish that with and for you. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this timely take. And until next time, thank you for watching.